This recording is in relation to anesthesia services, CPT coding and billing, and again these are for anesthesiologists and in some cases certified respiratory nurse anesthetists. And CPT coding does go along for reimbursement or billing purposes, and that is really evident in anesthesia coding. In anesthesia coding, we code not only an anesthesia CPT code, which usually starts with a 00, and you can find this information in your CPT book starting on page 54 in the blue banded, and it's just a handful of pages. If you flip from 54 to 56, you can start to see the different anesthesia codes, again starting with 00. And anesthesia codes represent anesthesia for procedures on certain body parts. So, for example, if you look at the first anesthesia CPT code 00100, that CPT code represents anesthesia services for procedures that are done on the salivary glands, including biopsies. So that 00100 would represent the anesthesia services while the surgeon did the salivary gland procedure, and that salivary gland procedure would be reported by the surgeon using another CPT code. So as we look at this, we can see that the anesthesia codes are grouped, or there is one code that represents a group of surgical CPT codes that the surgeon reports. So there's much fewer anesthesia CPT codes than there are actual surgery codes. So again, if you look at the neck anesthesia codes, there's only 6 of them. But if we look at neck surgical codes, there's probably 2-3 dozen codes. Now again, these 00 codes represent the anesthesiologist or certified registered nurse anesthetist services. So each of those codes are going to include a charge with them. Additionally, anesthesia can charge for the time that they spent with the patient. And again, if you flip back to page 54 in the CPT book, you can see that there's time reporting, and usually every 15 minutes is a unit, and there's a dollar amount attached to 1 unit. So 1 unit might be $100. So for an hour of anesthesia, they would bill out $400 for the time plus the charge attached to their anesthesia CPT code. They might also have extra charges for what's called physical status modifiers, and this is located on page 55. And as the P1, 2, 3 increase in number, the patient's physical status is actually getting worse, and there can be an additional charge for P5s or 6s, maybe even P4s. Additionally, there might be a charge, again for the anesthesiologist, for qualifying circumstances, and those are listed on page 55 of your CPT code book, and that's for a patient who's extremely young or extremely old, or if they use total body hypothermia or hypotension, controlled hypotension, or an emergent trauma type of patient. We can add on those various CPT codes there to the anesthesia charges. So those multiple qualifying circumstances for coding and billing of anesthesia services. Your chapter in the textbook, chapter 3, will cover those more than what I explained here, and you will have 2 assignments, scored assignments for this chapter, and one is coding, and the other one is actually just a summary of you going into the CPT book section here, just as I've talked about with you, and summarizing the different sections. The reason I have you do that assignment is to familiarize yourself with that section of the CPT book, because it is quite unique. So no online exam for this particular chapter. Good luck with your anesthesia CPT coding.